Good morning, this is Jeannie from the future because somehow I lost the intro footage to this video. This video is about graphic memoir recommendations. I really like these books and I hope you will too. First, Fun Home by Alison Bechdel. Fun Home is Alison Bechdel's first graphic memoir, chronicling her life from her early years and especially focusing on her relationship with her father Bruce and the family Fun Home, the Bechdel funeral home. Alison Bechdel is an amazing storyteller and an amazing cartoonist, and she imbues her books with a visceral sense that you're not just reading them, you're traveling through her history with her. Fun Home doesn't follow a linear structure, instead jumping forward and backward across time to make certain points. Alison Bechdel has described Fun Home as a labyrinth, quote, going over the same material, starting from the outside and spiraling into the center of the story. It's a story that feels a little bit like that scene in Alice in Wonderland when Alice is falling down the rabbit hole and sees all these other things in the rabbit hole with her. I haven't seen the musical, but the music from it and the photos that I've seen really capture the feeling of the book really well. It's visceral. There's a line in the opening song of the musical, It All Comes Back, when adult Alison says, "I need real things to draw from because I don't trust memory," and I think that illustrates something about the book really well. It's clear throughout that Alison Bechdel has drawn from photos and mementos, and the jumping labyrinthine structure suggests that the real Alison, like her fictional counterpart, doesn't really trust memory. For me, it's partly that labyrinthine structure that makes Fun Home feel less like a traditional memoir and more like a personal journey through Alison Bechdel's history with her as your guide. It's a big part of what I love about this book, and its sequel, Are You My Mother? Central to this book is the question, did Alison's father kill himself or was his death an accident? And while the evidence could go either way, it's made pretty clear that Alison believes he killed himself. Which brings us to recommendation number 2, Are You My Mother by Alison Bechdel. Are You My Mother is Alison Bechdel's second graphic memoir, focusing on her relationship with her mother. A lot of this one actually takes place after her father has died, and it talks about her relationship with her mother in the wake of his potential suicide. It's also, though, a book about her relationship with therapy and psychoanalysis, so it's not quite what it seems on the surface. It's not quite a traditional memoir, but I don't really have another word for it, so we're going to use memoir. Like its predecessor, Fun Home, Are You My Mother takes us on a nonlinear journey through Alison Bechdel's life and takes us along for the sometimes joyful, sometimes gut-punching ride. I don't have a lot to say about Are You My Mother that I haven't already said about Fun Home. Just know that Are You My Mother is just as good as Fun Home, but with a different topic. The third recommendation I have for you is Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi. Persepolis is Marjane Satrapi's memoir in graphic format, originally published in portions, but also published in a complete edition, which is what I read. It follows her through her childhood, starting just shortly after the Iranian Revolution, up through her adulthood. I had absolutely no knowledge about the Iranian Revolution before I read this, except that it had happened. And this isn't a book about the Iranian Revolution, it's a book about Marjane Satrapi's youth and her experience of the Iranian Revolution. It follows her through childhood in Iran, through teen years spent at school in Europe, I think Vienna specifically, through returning to Iran for university, and then through adulthood when she moved to Paris after getting divorced, because apparently divorced women are not treated very well in Iran. Marjane Satrapi's illustrations have a living quality to them that make them look like they're almost alive and moving. Persepolis is a long and winding, though ultimately linear, journey through Marjane Satrapi's life, and it is absolutely, absolutely worth reading. If the complete Persepolis seems to be too much for you at once, try reading it in its originally published shorter sections, so Volume 1, Volume 2, etc. My fourth and final recommendation is Honor Girl by Maggie Thrash. Honor Girl follows a summer at Camp Bellflower when Maggie was 15, when she develops a crush on her counselor, Erin, and figures out that she's gay. The art in this one is different from the art in the previous graphic memoirs because Maggie Thrash isn't an artist or a cartoonist. She's a writer. What I love about Honor Girl isn't its art, it's the storyline. Maggie Thrash, like I said, is a writer, and I've read her 2 YA novels and loved them, and she knows how to tell a compelling story. She wove details into the narrative that really grounds Honor Girl in its time, like Maggie's love of Backstreet Boys, and details that remind you that this is a memoir and these were real people, like Maggie asking for her very specific face wash when they get stranded. Cetaphil, if I remember correctly, and I think I do. Maggie Thrash has a way of really truly encapsulating what it's like to be a teenage girl in a way that I don't see very often. When I read this, I was reminded in excruciating detail of my own awkward teen years and the crushes that I had during them. She captured the essence of friendship with other girls at that age and made it all feel so real that it feels like we were there with her. It feels like we also went to Camp Bellflower, we also crushed on Erin, we also egged Maggie on. I also really recommend following Maggie Thrash on Instagram. She takes really cool selfies and makes really funny parody videos. You'll like her. And I found out this morning that there's a sequel in the works to Honor Girl called Lost Soul Be at Peace, and it comes out in October, so I'm gonna pre-order it. And because I don't know when to stop, I have a bonus honorable mention, Long Red Hair by Meags Fitzgerald. This is, as you guessed, a graphic memoir by Meags Fitzgerald, detailing her early life in the 90s and 2000s, and telling about discovering and figuring out that she was queer. I say honorable mention because I haven't finished this yet, as you can probably see by my bookmark. I'm like halfway through it. I actually started this last year, maybe even 2016, and haven't picked it up in ages, but I talked about it in my Books I'm Determined to Read This Year TBR video, and so I'm determined to finish it this year. I've only got half of it left. I really like the art in this in that it's more spare and less vibrant than a lot of things that I like, but it still conveys the story in a really beautiful way. And I will tell you more about this when I finish it. All July, I'm doing a video 3 times a week, every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday, so watch this space. In the description, you'll find the names of all these books, as well as links to a few articles to read about them. Thanks for watching. I hope you're well. Bye.